Hi everyone, I am Jude Hotep, the goddess astrologer and alchemical initiatrix. This is the Light Goddess Astrology Daily for the 27th of May, 2022. We're going to get into the astrology, pull some cards. This is a powerful time. I am in Port Townsend, Washington. It's so beautiful here. It's kind of like this on the water, the way the fog is and the mist. It's very much this vibe, like that quiet vibe at the beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know, it's really something. It's really interesting around here. As you probably know, I am traveling around the country right now. It is so amazing on this adventure. I have Sag in the 10th. um, but anyways, on my MC. So on the great attractor, actually, which is really interesting. But getting to this chart for today, so powerful energy. We have, the sun at 5 degrees Gemini today. It's a mental energy and a mental sign. So it's a lot of thinking in the mind. And then, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is retrograde in Taurus, thinking about the past and reviewing things that have to do with our self-worth and value. And then here comes Lilith in Gemini, where where have we been subservient in the past with our truth, in Gemini truth, and our knowledge. And so black moon Lilith is asking, like where as women have you, it's oftentimes that women really put themselves to work around what they want. Like they want the family, for example, so they make themselves work with the family. They want this, they want that in their life. So they try to figure out how they can work around things to have those things in their life. Instead of being the egg, your divine feminine, you be the egg, you magnetize it, you call it in. Now you're like, well, how do I do that? But it's really standing in your value, Mercury's in value, reviewing the past, retrograde. And then we have this trine to Pluto about suppressed subconscious material. So this great energy for when that's coming up to really review it and sift through it and heal it, and to heal where we've been subservient in the past, where we have not acted upon our self-worth, where it's really been kind of suppressed and tamped down underneath these experiences that we've had in our life because we were just trying to get what we wanted, we thought. But it's this very masculine way of like going after it, when really it's the feminine of calling it in, attracting it in, being that energy and that beauty. And we have to realize that it's like, almost as women, when that's said to us, it's kind of the slap in the face, because it's like we've had 5,000 years of suppression, abuse, violence, murder, so much more, that it's this slap in the face that we didn't get the time to do it. We didn't get the time to be it, to do it, to experience it, to know how. We don't know how at this conscious level. We're all learning that, awakening to that in all the different ways and aspects of our life. And so it's so important to really give yourself so much compassion, because the things that we are dealing with in the divine feminine awakening journey are things that the culture or people that are trying to help have businesses out there, and women trying to help women like have orgasms and to be in their sexual feminine energy and to attract and all these things, that it's almost like this message of like, you should get it, you should have it, why aren't you this, you should be it already, isn't this like a duh? So there's almost just so much pressure around it, and it's really just having the just intense compassion, this um this sextile from Mercury to Neptune is here with all of this Pisces. Neptune, its home place of Pisces, saying, have so much love, divine love and compassion for yourself on this journey, because what we are healing and awakening to aren't the ways that society says to live. They're deep, individuated, rebel, completely liberated, free ways to live inside ourselves that is not the norm in society. And while so many people do it, and most likely you've been around alternative styles and ways of living, it's just we have to realize it's still something we're creating really on this larger scale, on this more mass scale. So to give ourselves compassion. And we have this square from Venus and Aries to Pluto. And so this square is just Venus and Aries like wants to take action. She's not strong here, but she is very much intense and understanding what she wants and what she doesn't want, and just very, very clear about stepping into her power, even though she's not particularly strong. And the moon today is joining her at the last degrees of Aries, as it'll go into Taurus for the weekend. And so it's just this last bit of kind of communication with our emotions, this energy of standing in our power. And I was talking about Lilith earlier, and this looking to the past of our self-worth with Mercury and Taurus, and Venus having come off that conjunction with Eris, the goddess of like, no, we're not doing the status quo bullshit that holds women down, suppresses women. It suppresses the divine feminine in humanity, because all of humanity has divine feminine, and suppresses her within humanity, not allowing for us to have amazing emotional mastery and health, and to have a liberated, beautiful life based on our soul and joy and happiness and creation and love. And all of those sound like frilly concepts until you're really living them and really in them. And then it's like, this is the way life is meant to be. This is what's normal, actually. Thank you. So that's what I want you to keep in mind, is that like, that's what's normal, actually. That's what's normal. And so the square to Pluto is like this talking, this communication about, I want what I want, and I have to really go back and look at the past so I can retrieve the lessons, retrieve the knowledge, the wisdom that I gained from going through this last 20 years, from going through since 2010, from going through since 2000. Like, I have to go and make sure with Pluto and retrograde and get all those lessons, all those learnings, all those understandings, so I can live them, let go of the charge, let go of the issues, that whatever needs healing. That's where Pluto and the trine to Mercury, is healing so much, because we're understanding it, and understanding heals. Love heals, and when we can understand things, we can love ourselves and all the people involved, and we can release and let go of things that held a significant charge before, or where we felt so wounded. And we can understand from the soul's perspective, with this Neptune square to Lilith, like the soul perspective about my power. And so it's like, standing my power must come from the soul place, not from this ego place. And that's what that square is like, oh, am I motivated by the ego? I'm motivated by desires. I'm motivated, and I'm wanting to say, like, to stand up for rights, but standing up yet again is taking a side. Again, it's still in the duality that's not serving humanity. It's still putting somebody else down, instead of having this higher soul perspective that we're all unraveling ancient karma, and people are awakened to the level they are. And many just don't want to step onto this path in this life. And we have to give people the dignity of their own timeline, while planting seeds, weaving light in and around humanity, people, everywhere we go. And so with all this Aries energy, with Mars at 1 degrees at home today, be aware that people can have the ego out hardcore. Like, I think in one day this week, I got honked at by one car, and then a whole different car flipped me off, and I did not make any driving errors. Like, I make them all the time, and so do other people all the time, whatever. But it's part of driving. You just don't you realize you have a turn there, whatever. Like, nobody is a perfect driver. Regardless, I didn't actually make any driving errors. So, and also too, like, look at the response, so disproportionate to if I had made a driving error, like in the left turning lane when it, and went straight, or and the car got confused and got cut off, or who knows what, something like that. So it's like, the disproportionate response. Be aware of Jupiter and Aries blowing up this very warrior Mars testosterone, like intense, like ego, like I'm just gonna bust through this wall, I'm not gonna wait, like He-Man kind of energy. That's the low octave Aries, and Jupiter's expanding it. So realize that people out in the street can be in their ego, they can be angry. People in your life, you might be in that place. So take breaths, take deep breaths, use your spiritual gig bag. If you want to fill out your spiritual gig bag and understand what that's all about, come into Light Goddess. You can come into the sisterhood, or you can book a complimentary goddess call for Alchemical Goddess, my coaching program, where you will build your spiritual gig bag and realize the one you've already been building your whole life, and utilize it. Actually utilize it. That's what it's there for. And so we have to realize that you might be in your ego. It's to take care. It's that Mars energy that needs expression. So when you're feeling like that yourself, you got to get that anger, frustration, whatever that is. It's Mars energy. You have to get it out in this healthy way. So this is the time to find the healthy ways that you're going to, for the rest of your life, handle anger and frustration and those types of Mars energies and those types of emotions. We have all the emotions on the human spectrum. There's nothing wrong with anger. We talked about this a lot on the Light Goddess podcast. There's even a whole episode on rage early on. You can go back and look for it. And it's so powerful to understand that it's so natural and okay to have anger, but we want a way to release it that really helps. Sometimes we need to release it gently. Sometimes we need to release it in like a violent way. And there's somatic release techniques. I teach those in Alchemical Goddess. So there, there's really healthy ways to deal with anger. And what are your ways to deal with anger and frustration? Because when we push frustration down, it turns into depression, it turns into bleakness, it turns into a flat way of viewing life, and life becoming meaningless and just not appreciating life anymore because you don't care, because it's like, well, what's the point? It's because that Mars energy got suppressed and sublimated and pushed down and turned inward on yourself. So it's so important that we express Mars energy outward on purpose in a healthy way. So I hope that helps to realize that people might be more frustrated, angry, and snappy and all that, and just walk away. Just give it to them. Just like, okay, they're choosing to behave like that. They're not seeing it, they're not catching it, but that's what's going on. Is Jupiter expanding this Mars energy, 3 planets in Mars. It's a lot of the moon still. So emotionally, just snappy. Like when the moon's in Aries, it's very much quick tempered, gets over it quick, but quick tempered. But now with all 3 planets as joining it, it's like no. So this Aries energy, the low octave or the higher octave, which is the spiritual warrior or the assertiveness, just the like adventure, believing in the mission, getting back up when you get knocked down, like knowing that we're doing this, believing, like the high octave Aries is believing that we can do this, we got this, believing in the magic, like let's go, let's take initiative, let's do this is fun, let's be on the adventure. That's high octave Aries. So make sure you raise that Aries low octave to the high octave and express it, because that's the energy we have, and it is super intense. It is super intense. We have time to go. There's things that we are letting go of, and there's things that you need to cut. Mars is a cutting energy, and in Aries, it's like cutting everything that's not an adventure, cutting everything that's your no, cutting everything that's not for you. It's really being in this place of true independence that's individuated. We have to the sea, so we have to realize that this being self-resourced is so important right now, that with all of this pushing action energy, and so having so much energy to take action right now, that we want to self-nurture proportional to what we expect of ourselves. But more than self-nurture, we want to fill our cup up with curiosity, joy, pleasure, delight, novelty, connection, and not in escapism ways, not in ways that are just pleasure that like we buy, that's false, but like deep pleasure from within, like enjoying a beautiful place or the flowers or craftsmanship or that deep connection. So what does spirit need us to know right now? mending, that we are in this mending, but it seems like there's a lot of resistance to it, that maybe you think something went wrong, or your resistance to feeling those emotions. You got to feel those emotions to be able to release them, but it's not indulging in them, it's actually doing a release. And sometimes the indulging versus allowing and feeling, there's a fine line there, and you have to really gauge that and learn that for yourself by going into it, tweaking it. But allow yourself to mend, to heal, allow yourself for that to come. Like, get out of the old patterns of the ways you tried to heal and mend and do things before. You got to do something different. Take a drive, shake it up, go for a walk, go pet puppies at like a shelter, go volunteer, to dog sit, go shake it up, get some novelty, move your body, get it moving. Gemini, all this Gemini energy, we have to move. In Gemini, we have to move. It's a fun conversational, we can talk, we have to get it out, talk to a voice memo, talk to the air, talk to your guides. So what else wants to come forward for us? If you would like to book an astrology reading, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. And man, what card wants to come forward? We have TikTok. So there is this urgency going on, because all this Aries energy can really feel like a pushing. It can feel so urgent. It can feel like everything's got to be done now. It can feel like time's running out. And to really watch that and realize that's not true. It's just the North Node's in Taurus. It's just one steady step at a time. That's the only way you can build something. You can't build a house, all the 2x4s and all the nails all at once. It would take a lot of people, and then you could still only do the frame or only do a piece of the frame, and then like you'd only still be able to do sections. You wouldn't be able to do it all at once. That would be more of like a performance piece, theater. Chaos and conflict comes before the healing. It comes before the understanding. It comes before the popping out of the shadow and into the other side, into the healed place, the understanding place, the wisdom gathered and gained from going to that pain, loss, and challenge in that shadowlands. Like, we go into the shadowlands, that going into the dark, shadow, the triggers, the things. And when we pop out the other side, it's chaos and conflict in there until we pop out the other side. So don't be afraid of that or think that something went wrong. That's part of the spiritual journey and healing and churning and dealing with the shadowlands and being in it. When you're in it, give yourself a break and maybe not expect as much of yourself when you're in the shadowlands as other times, and be more compassionate with you. Go seek more, not false pleasure, escapism pleasure, but like true, honest, like filling your cup up types of activities that really fill you up and really feed your soul, feed your light, feed your joy. We have a tendency not to do that. We have a tendency just to binge TV, scroll, overeat, things like that, instead of actually going and filling our cup up. And we have a leg up that you don't think you're going to get any help with things, and realize that the help is all around. It really, really is. But when you're in the shadowlands, we can't see it, and it's happening even so. So just know that you're not going to cut it off just because you're angry or upset. You're not going to cut off your good. You're not going to cut off your healing. So don't be afraid of that. When we're in the shadowlands, we can't see anything as good, most likely. The tribe, so lots of reverse cards. We need community and connection, and to realize that we are the resource to each other. What you don't have, I have. What I don't have, you have. And we need to help each other, support each other. But it's not even just help and support. It's just really, truly living in community. It's actually that, like, the world lost that ability because they're like, dog eat dog. I'm out for me. I got to do everything on my own and build my own. It's all on my own. It's like, no, we actually have to be this giant community. And it doesn't mean you're still not doing your own work, but also we need to connect and grow and make sure we're building healthy communities, because we are building a parallel society all across the world right now. Those of us awakened that are doing this amazing work and that are connecting with other like-minded soul tribe people, and just keep connecting with soul tribe. Just keep weaving the light in and out. Keep going on that. We have to be fair. So realize that to be fair to other people, we have to be fair to ourselves. So make sure you're fair to you first, You are first. Your kids aren't first. Nobody's first except you. You are first, because if you're not there, you cannot help or support or take care of kids or anybody else. You have to exist and be well nourished, fed, exercised, played. Well, you need to have your cup full to actually be able to offer yourself to your kids or anybody else. Otherwise, you're no good to anybody, really, because you're not able to show up in your true light and in your true power and in your true love. You're not able to be in that love because your cup's not full. So be fair to yourself, and also realize that a time, this card is like really indicating that a time for a lot of resolutions and things to get sorted out. And it's time for some divine justice. And we have breathe. So it's like, do you meditate, actual meditation, or do you exercise for meditation? Whatever that is, it's like, get in your body, get behind the mind and the thoughts, into that divine feminine space, into that divine feminine knowing. I'm gonna leave it there for today. Sending you so much love. I do astrological shamanic coaching for divine feminine soulpreneurs. Again, you can find out all about that on my website. I do card readings every day on my Instagram at Peace Hotep. I'm also on Pinterest and Facebook and LinkedIn, but so you'll get all the cool stuff on Instagram. And so yeah, I just sending you so much love. I appreciate you being here.